Yeah. So this should be the PS4. And we can play some Blade Strangers. So I just kind of noticed this the other day. So there's actually like 2 anime openings here. This is kind of the beginning of the first one. And there's like 2 sets of characters in each one. And so I think they may have like made the original animation before they've completely finalized the roster or something, because then there's just like this second like completely different animation that features a bunch of like crossover characters from other series. I mean, this whole game's kind of crossover. It's a mix of like Umihara Kawase, Code Princess, and then quotes in here from Cave Story. And I think all these characters were kind of announced towards the beginning, as mainly, you know, Code Princess and Umihara Kawase. But then, like, we'll go ahead and skip. Oh, I need to turn my controller on. Oopsie. But then, like, there's this, you can skip it, and then you get to the second intro, and then it has, I guess in some ways, this, like, the story for these other characters is almost like the sequel to the Blade Stranger story, and there's like all these crossover characters here, and then I think I forget his name. Quote, maybe is his name. I can't remember. I always get the lady's name from Cave Story mixed up with the guy's name, but it's just interesting that there's 2 opening videos, both animated with different sets of characters. It seems like Solange, the Code Princess lady, seems to be the main lady. But yeah, so we'll start with we'll do arcade first, just play through some of the gameplay stuff. I'm going to play it on hard, which means I'm probably going to get a little beat up because I'm not very good at fighting games. And so, yeah, it's a pretty weird cast of characters. This whole game just has like a weird cast. It's just like, here's a bunch of Code Princess characters for some reason. Here's Curly from Cave Story for some reason. and then Umihara Kawase characters across this bottom here. And then this lady who's just like an original lady for this game. And like her story mode is not very descriptive of like what I don't even know, like it seems like she's trying to get revenge for something, but it's just not very clear of what she's trying to get revenge for, other than I guess like maybe her village burned down or something. And then down here is just kind of like the mix of crossover characters and also the boss character. So yeah, so I mainly was interested in this game because of Umihara Kawase characters. I'm not a big fan of Imiko, and Kawase's okay, but we'll start with Kawase because I think she has like a interesting moveset a little bit, because she has her fishing lure like in the main Umihara Kawase games, where she can, you know, grapple onto things with their fishing lure. And you can kind of use it in battle, but I'm not particularly good at it, so you'll see me whiff a bunch, I'm sure. And then, as far as I can tell, it's like a 4-button fighting game. You have like, light hits, and then you have like a hard hit, and this thing called like a unique hit, which is like also just a hard hit as far as I can tell. Also getting my butt kicked. Like it's just a weird like extra hard hit, and then you have like a special attack. Just trying to get this thing off me. And the special attacks are based off like their gimmick of who they are as a character. So Umihara, she has a fishing lure that we can use. So we have this weird little dash attack. That's not the fishing lure one, but she can grab enemies in the air with the fishing lure. She can also use it to swing around in the air a little bit. Haven't found much use for this, but it is there. And then you can combine some button presses to get like stronger versions of certain attacks and stuff. So I can go further across the stage like that, or do a more devastating jump attack thing. Sometimes it just leads into having more of a combo. Other times it's like a harder hitting thing, or just has a wider reach. I think it's just a longer wind up, so there's no like cost to doing the stronger hit for that. And then there's another unique attack special that does have a cost. So in that case, I do like a whip thing. But yeah, it's actually pretty simple in terms of like, you know, it just being a 4-button fighter. as far as I can tell. I'm not super, you know, proficient with fighting games, and then it's just like a combination of buttons from there. But because everything's kind of so broken up, I feel like there's no medium attacks or anything, and it just feels like it's like it feels like it's hard to combo unless you really know what you're doing, which, you know, maybe I'm wrong about this game. I feel like this would probably have been a more casual fighting game, but just because it's such a weird cast, but I'm not sure. The nice thing about her lure is she can like pull people back in and continue comboing them. There's also like this little white bar below your health up here at the top, which seems to be like a meter that like basically prevents you from getting comboed too long. And if the white meter runs out as you're getting hit, I think it like knocks you out of a combo basically, or prevents them from comboing you, or they get like a penalty. I'm not good enough at this game to combo people long enough to really have a good answer for that stuff. So I'm just gonna switch over to another character real quick. Well, let me try one of the specials here. Everyone has like a couple specials as far as I can tell, and they're all like based off their character. I also turned those pop-ups on. They were originally turned off where like they say stuff, but like I'm not picky enough about my visual experience being like, oh, I want nothing on screen. Each skill can be like powered up to a level 2 version by double tapping the buttons to perform that skill, which I like is a nice like easy way to handle some of these things. Yeah, I wish I was better at Umihara. Sometimes, like, so the special button is almost like a Smash Brothers type button where it's like you can press circle in a direction to do an attack, but sometimes there's not something there, and it feels kind of awkward to be like, oh, when I press down and circle, it is the same as pressing like, oh gosh, as another direction sometimes. Oh boy. There's also this thing where you can like basically get a free like block almost, where if you like, so I can go into heat up mode and basically the next hit that hits me won't knock me back, so I can basically punch through someone else's punch or something. And then I also can use like a special out of that as well, which then burns the rest of the heat. Character sprites are a little gritty in this game. Part of me wants to show the story mode, but then at the same time it's also like there's not a lot of story going on for most characters. I would say like I've kind of like grown to have a higher expectation on like fighting games with stories. I'm trying to think if we might we'll do Solange. I guess I kind of have a higher expectation on like stories in fighting games nowadays, I feel like. And I feel like in this game it's a little light. Some of the characters do have some interesting plots, but I think it's mainly Noko from Umihara Kawase, just because she's like a police officer, like a time police officer, which I think is like canon in actual Sayonara Umihara Kawase. But that game is just so not story in any way. Like, story is not a facet of that game at all, so it's interesting to see them like try to push this motivation for this character who's like why she became a time cop and stuff. I think they might be the most interesting characters, but maybe it's just because I'm most interested in that series, where I feel like maybe Code Princess and all the other games have a more built-in story already. Well, that was a mess up. So that it doesn't feel as substantial because they just can't do as much with it. I'd say Solange is kind of like the default Ryu type almost. She does have like a Hadouken kind of thing. If I can get this person off me. This is what I get for playing hard. I haven't really played that much hard. I maybe played halfway through arcade mode a couple times and then decided I didn't really want to do it. But yeah, she has like a slash that goes out like that. My main is Noko from Mihari Kawase, so I'll play a little bit of her by the end at the very least. But yeah, I think overall, like, there's some different, I don't even know if I'd call them different mechanics per se. There's like a training mode that tries to show you how to do combos with different characters. I didn't have much luck with it. Again, I'm very casual when it comes to fighting games. So like, sometimes it asks me to do something and I'm not really sure what it's asking me to do. And it feels like I'm putting the inputs in right. And as far as I can tell, it's making something that looks like a combo, but I'm still just missing something. Yeah, man. I think the only character I have not played so far is what's it called? Shovel Knight. I just unlocked Shovel Knight in the story mode and I haven't really touched it that much. So there's like a mission mode here, and this is like just supposed to show you how to play certain characters. So yeah, we'll do Ollie. I like Ollie's character design a lot, and she has like this bomb attack that's kind of nice. So basically it says like light, down, special. I think this is pretty common for a lot of fighting games. So there you go. So like, because it's a fighting game and they want you to like combo in a way that you're not leaving openings open, like the timing on this stuff can get pretty tight. So it's gonna be down. Oh, I messed that up. So that's like using the harder version of the kick to, you know, to combo more, I guess. Oh, use special during special. Okay. I didn't know you could do that. Which is the kind of nice thing about this, because you can find out these things. Okay, and then at the end I need to do hard, unique, and then special. Okay. I'm really not good at doing this kind of stuff. Nope. Didn't get it. So I think that's what I'm supposed to hit at the end of the combat, because I was just like a fraction of a second off and did not. Okay. Okay. Whoops, I pressed down on accident. But this is like maybe the second or third one, and I'm already just like, whatever, man. Super for me. And I'm just like, I just want to hit stuff, and then I'm a dummy and press down again. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Did I get it? Nope, I think because I did it twice. I pressed the trigger twice, I think, and that's what the problem was. Dang it, I pressed the trigger twice again. I'm just kind of like, I'm somewhere between like button mashy and also putting inputs in. Also, I can't see. Please. Get over there. Okay. Dang, I pressed it twice again. Ah. Actually, let's just make sure of one thing real quick. It's not that. Okay. There we go. See, I pressed it once that time, and that made it work. Even though I don't see why it doesn't matter that you press it twice. Why it matters if you press it twice or not. So it is a nice like little training mode, but like I just personally I never really gonna get into how this stuff is. It's just not, it's not me. I spend very little time with fighting games and like learning them very well. It's not something I particularly do. There's also like a tutorial for some very, very basic stuff. I tried playing online a few times and I haven't had much luck. Let's see if we can find something. This is Asia. Let me change. I was trying a bunch of different regions, hoping I could get somebody. Oh, oh, Sure. This is the first time playing online. Also, it's a 2-bar connection in Asia, so maybe this won't be very good. I'll try to be my main. I'm sure I'll do terrible anyways. Training stage. I hear the music like already crackling a bit. Oh man. I'm ready for this internet lag fighting game. I shouldn't have picked Asia. Ah! Ah! I'm gonna get my butt kicked, I'm sure. Nice! Perfect! Alright. Ah, he grabbed me. But yeah, like, I can't do any of this garbage. Oh, boy. Thanks, man. It actually wasn't that bad, like, what's it called, wise, but honestly, like how I play fighting games, I would typically rematch with someone like that because I want to be better about like trying to get like through this. But for the sake of a stream, I will not rematch with him. Mainly because I just want to make sure that it's not just me getting my ass handed to me for a solid like 10 minutes. Okay, well this is nice. I'm actually getting rooms. That's good. I don't think that was happening beforehand. When I was playing the last few nights, every time I tried to search, I couldn't find anyone. I'll try Noko again since she's supposedly my best character. Also, it's not like I actually succeeded in anything. That being said, this guy is apparently considered a legend rank-wise, so it may just be the pool of characters so small. Oof. That's a terrifying looking Isaac. I don't like this. I don't like... Your friend. Your friend. Oof. Oh, boy. Jesus Christ. Ah! Little fly got me. Alright, we'll try one more time, but... Come fly! Oh boy. Oh boy. Got my ass handed to me. Anyways, that is online. That actually played pretty well, I'm surprised. But yeah, it oof, that was real rough. I do think there is like, and I always say this when I play fighting games, like I'm playing this from the perspective of like a very casual fighting game player. So like I don't want to say there's no strategy to Blade Strangers, because obviously there is. Like I just got my ass handed to me twice. But I think the feeling of playing the game when you're a beginner matters a lot in a lot of fighting games. I'm terrible at Gunvolt. We'll play Noko so I can actually do something with her. Like the feeling of I feel like even if you're a beginner and you're not able to play a game like particularly well, it should still feel good to play, I guess, if that makes sense. That's my biggest problem I have with like games like Virtua Fighter and stuff like that. Yeah, story mode in this is basically like, oh, we're pulling in a bunch of people from different universes, and this robot's gonna eat them. And then so you get to pick your character, and then each character has their own story arc. And some of them are goofy, some of them aren't. I don't know why I'm doing story mode and then skipping all the cutscenes. There's a little bit of voice acting here and there, but it's not particularly... it's not a lot of voice acting, I guess I should say. I will say that, like, I feel like all the characters in this game... Let me think of this. Let me think if I want to say this or not. I was going to say, I feel like all the characters in this game are pretty unique. But I do feel like a lot of them share a lot of the same elements, like... Whoops, I messed that up. But I still got it because this is on normal. But I feel like a lot of characters do share a lot of the same elements, like with the explosives and stuff. There's quite a few characters with explosives, and all the projectiles kind of feel the same, even if they have like a different look to them. But I do think, like, I think the biggest selling point for Blade Strangers is the characters that are in this game. They're just so... It's such a weird cast of characters to have in a game. Whoops, I didn't want to do that. It's just not something you'd expect. You know, Code Princess has been re-released a lot, and you know, I think it's selling okay when they do that. But it doesn't feel like a big franchise that should get its own fighting game per se. And I realize this isn't like a Code Princess fighting game, but it might as well be. Code Princess and Umihara Kawase, and then everyone else is just like, I'm the guest. I think from Umihara Kawase perspective in particular, though, I do feel like the extra story and dialogue for the characters is really nice. There's not really that much like animated stuff for the story. The ending does have like a scene where everyone, or like each individual character, like flies off into space. But otherwise, it's pretty much still portraits with a little bit of text between each. I'd say probably 80 to 90% of them feel just like filler, with maybe the exception being Noko's in particular. I feel like she has a fairly strong plot. Still like filler dialogue in hers as well, but like, oh, who's this child? And like, you know, that child, you know, like Isaac being like, oh, I don't know, like, oh, it's a disguise to prevent me from doing my goals and stuff. I don't know. There's not really a good reason to fight each other usually, but hey, it's a fighting game. I think what's most important about this game is just whether you care about like these characters at all. I mean, obviously, I'm not the expert on fighting games to say, like, oh, is this, like, game mechanically introducing anything unique or anything like that. At least nothing surface level seems to stand out, other than just, I think the 4-button system feels a little different than other games, but it doesn't feel particularly unique, to me at least, from a very casual perspective. I don't know how much more I have to say about the game, though. I feel like the last few games I think Quick Play Stream 4s I've been like, oh, you know, what you see is kind of what you get. I don't think it's a bad fighting game, for sure. Let's back out of here. I don't think it's a bad fighting game at all. But you could probably do better, a lot better. But again, do you want to play as Gunvolt in a fighting game? Because here you go. Like, that's a weird character to be able to play in a fighting game. I feel like Shovel Knight's popular enough at this point. He showed up in enough things. Here's this Zonda skin for Gunvolt, which I thought was a really cute thing. I have not looked to see if there's like any fan art of what's going on with this thing. I'd be very curious. I'm very bad with Gunvolt. He has basically like this gunshot, and then like you can use it to tag the enemy, and I don't know if that tag just like increases the general damage to them, or if it's like whoops, I keep dashing. Also, all his like special skills are not particularly good to use up close. I feel like he's a very strategic character with a strategy that I have not figured out at all yet. He has some, yeah, like, I mean, he has his moves from the games in it and stuff, like, well, his moves from the video games, you know, called Gunvolt, but like, here's the astral sphere thing, you know. So in the game, like, when you shoot these little targets on you, then you like a sharp, or like a, I forget what it's called, like a something spark, flash field. It's been a little while. It's been like 3 years since Gunvolt 2. It's been a while actually. Maybe it's been 2 years. I can't remember. Anyways, that's how you like deal the damage with that thing. But as far as I can tell, there's no like flash field in this game, so it's very it's I'm very confused at what the targeting does, other than just maybe increases your general damage. But otherwise, he's a very melee-focused character. He can also build his meter on his own. Like, he can just charge, which makes sense given the game he's from. But, like, yeah, I don't know if, like, tagging helps with that or not. I should probably play through his missions and see if I can figure out anything with him. It's kind of nice that he does have like a, in addition to like the charge, you can also press 2 buttons at once and it does the, I'm blanking on most of the moves from that game, the name of them, but I think, which I never really even used that much in the game. Also, here's the giant cat. I think I generally like the cast in this game. I just think, you know, with the time investment I'm willing to put into Blade Strangers, like, I feel like I have a very limited set of combos that I feel good about doing, and you know, if you, again, I think if you spent the time learning Blade Strangers, you can figure it out, but maybe it's just not. Some of them are delayed like that, and I have a hard time comboing them. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like Blade Strangers, if you like Umihara Kwase, Code Princess, or Gunvolt, which are 3 weird things to say for a fighting game, like, here's these 3 franchises, you know, maybe Shovel Knight. Shovel Knight I can understand, like, Shovel Knight's very big and popular, maybe even Cave Story, actually, but, you know, Code Princess and Umihara Kwase being the core crew of this game is such a weird thing. And maybe that's what makes this game neat, just it is such a weird thing. It is a weird thing, but that's what I like. I like that. I wish it was a little more approachable, but I'm not gonna, you know, complain too much. Oops. And the problem I have with Gunvolt every time is I just don't use my skills properly. I really feel like you need to put the time into Gunvolt to kind of figure out his moves, how they're all supposed to work. Jeez. Although I do like he has like this tackle. Let me see if I can do it. Oh, dang it. I do like that little weird walk on the enemy thing. I haven't figured out because like otherwise there is like a dash like that, but it doesn't seem to do anything other than just let you move forward. I don't know. I lost. I think that's gonna do it. Thanks for coming this week. We'll try to figure out if, I think her name was Himono. Figure out if she's the trader next week in Lost Dimension 2. I'm going to try to have an article up next week, as promising. Again, it's going to take me some time to kind of figure out the new flow of how I want content to go up and what makes sense given, you know, the changes I'm making in my lifestyle right now. So, yeah. Yeah. I'll probably be streaming next week. I think I plan to. I mentioned that because Portland Retro Game Expo is coming up, so I will be out the Friday after that. So I don't think we'll miss any stream times. I'm still undecided on what to do for the podcast. I'll probably try to figure out something fairly soon, and then just go from there. Have a good night. Bye.